Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you've ever opened your mail, right, and found a Medicare summary notice just staring back at you with a big fat denied stamped on a claim, you know that immediate sinking feeling in your stomach. It's frustrating, it's incredibly anxiety-inducing, and honestly, it can feel like you're going up against this impossible, faceless bureaucracy. But here's the good news. You absolutely are not. Today, we're going to transform all that anxiety into action. We're going to walk through a clear, step-by-step roadmap to fighting back and reclaiming the coverage you actually deserve.
So let's just dive right in. Look at this quote. Denied? Don't panic. Let's fight back. That is basically our mantra for this entire explainer. Now, it is completely normal to feel overwhelmed at first, but I want you to quickly pivot from panic to hope. Why? Well, because according to the data, a really significant percentage of Medicare denials are actually overturned when you just follow the structured appeals process. Seriously, you just need to know the rules of the game.
So, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at why claims get denied. Then, we're prepping your strategy, going over the 5 appeal levels, and tackling fast appeals. After that, we'll hit some expert tips and free help and wrap it all up with a final recap.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Why Claims Get Denied. We're looking at some surprising and common reasons for rejection here. Before we file a single piece of paper or start making demands, we've got to take a breath and figure out exactly why Medicare said no in the first place. You see, denials aren't always a hard no on your medical care. Sometimes it's literally just a clerical or paperwork mistake. I mean, imagine your doctor simply typed a 7 instead of an 8 for a billing code. That's a super common error they can just fix and resubmit without you even needing a formal appeal. Other times, it's a not medically necessary denial. That just means Medicare reviewed the paperwork and decided the service wasn't needed for your specific condition based on their strict guidelines. Or, it could be a missing prior authorization or maybe a missed deadline. So finding out which of these buckets you fall into, that's your absolute first step.
Moving on to Section 2, Preparing Your Strategy. These are the crucial actions to take before you actually file anything.
Now that we know why claims generally get rejected, let's dive into exactly what you need to do the very second you decide to fight your specific denial. Okay, here are the 3 critical actions you need to take before filling out any official appeal forms. Step 1. Find the exact denial reason on your Medicare summary notice. That's your MSN. Look for that specific claim number. Step 2. Call Medicare if you have original Medicare or call your Medicare Advantage plan. And Step 3. Get your doctor involved. Honestly, I cannot stress this enough. A detailed letter of medical necessity from your treating physician is literally the single most powerful tool in your entire arsenal. Medicare wants hard clinical proof, and your doctor is the only one who can provide it.
Now when you're executing Step 2 and actually on the phone with Medicare, I want you to use this exact script. Ask them, can you provide the detailed clinical basis for this denial, including the specific policy, guideline, national coverage determination, or local coverage determination that was applied? Boom. Just like that. Make sure you write down the representative's name, the reference number, and the date and time of the call. This is brilliant because it perfectly illustrates how you take control of the situation. It tells you the exact argument you need to make in your doctor's letter, it confirms if the denial was just a silly coding error, and it creates a rock-solid documented paper trail.
All right, Section 3, the 5 appeal levels. Let's navigate this official system together.
Okay, so now we're stepping into the official bureaucracy. I know, it sounds super intimidating, but remember, this structure is actually designed to give you multiple chances to win. The standard process for original Medicare Parts A and B features 5 distinct levels. It starts right at the top with your initial determination, your denial. From there, you have 120 days to file for a redetermination. If you lose there, no worries, you have 180 days to ask for a reconsideration. After that, you start moving into the legal sphere, an administrative law judge, then the Medicare Appeals Council, and finally, federal district court.
Let's break these down a bit more. Level 1 is a redetermination by a MAC. Now, MAC just stands for Medicare Administrative Contractor. Basically, that's the company that processed your claim in the first place, but a totally different person will be reviewing it this time. If that gets denied, Level 2 is a reconsideration by a QIC, a Qualified Independent Contractor. Definitely pay attention to these deadlines here. You get 120 days for Level 1 and then 180 days for Level 2. But once you hit Level 3, the administrative law judge, things speed up. You only have 60 days to file, and as of 2026, your disputed amount actually has to be at least $200. And if you go all the way to Level 5, federal court, well, the claim has to be worth at least $1,960.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that you do not need to be intimidated by the idea of federal court or judges. The reality, most appeals end right at Level 1 or Level 2. Either the denial gets reversed or folks just decide the amount isn't worth continuing the fight. To win at these early critical stages, you'll be using forms like the CMS 20027 for a Level 1 redetermination and the CMS 20033 for Level 2. And hey, a great clerical tip when filling these out, always clearly reference the specific billing codes, those CPT codes, and attach that powerful doctor's letter we talked about earlier. Seriously, this is where the real battles are won.
Moving on to Section 4, Fast Appeals. This is for those urgent health and discharge situations.
So everything we just discussed was for the standard process. Usually, that's when you're fighting a bill after the fact. But what if you're currently lying in a hospital bed or a skilled nursing facility, and they walk in and tell you your coverage is ending tomorrow, but you know you're not ready to go home? That is exactly where the fast appeal or expedited appeal comes into play. This exists for situations where the calendar itself is the danger. Think about it. A standard Level 1 appeal can take up to 60 days for a decision. A fast appeal, that's decided in just 72 hours. You initiate a fast appeal when your provider hands you a notice of Medicare non-coverage or an important message from Medicare. When you get that notice, you immediately request a review from an independent organization called a BFCQIO. Now, that's just a specialized quality improvement organization that the government contracts specifically to handle these real-time, highly urgent disputes before your care is actually cut off.
All right, Section 5, Expert Tips and Free Help. We're talking powerful precedents and free lifelines.
Listen, if you're building an appeal, you want to use every single advantage you have, right? Well, if you are appealing a denial for a skilled nursing facility, rehabilitation, or home health care, you absolutely must know about JIMO versus Sebelius. See, historically, Medicare would deny care by claiming a patient had plateaued and just wasn't improving. But this 2013 legal settlement clarified that Medicare literally cannot deny coverage just because a patient isn't getting better. If you need skilled care simply to maintain your current level of function or to prevent a decline, you're covered. Let me tell you, citing this exact maintenance standard in your Level 1 or Level 2 appeal letter is a highly proven strategy to overturn these specific types of denials.
And please remember, you really don't have to do this alone. You actually have 3 free official lifelines at your disposal. First up is SHIP. That's the State Health Insurance Assistance Program. They offer free, completely unbiased, one-on-one counseling and can literally sit down and help you build your appeal case. Second is 1-800-Medicare. That's your 24/7 front desk for account questions, checking a claim status, or just understanding what a confusing charge even means. And finally, there's the Medicare Beneficiary Ombudsman. I want you to think of them as your escalation office. Now, they don't decide the appeals themselves, but if the normal channels are just totally failing you and you have a systemic complaint, you can ask 1-800-Medicare to route your case to the Ombudsman for advocacy.
Which brings us to Section 6, our final recap. Let's go over your step-by-step action plan. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground today, from the sneaky reasons for denial to the specific forms and deadlines. So let's lock in everything we've learned with a rapid-fire recap so you walk away with a concrete action plan. Ready? Step 1. Read your Medicare summary notice and pinpoint the exact denial reason. Step 2. Call Medicare, use that script we gave you, and document exactly who you spoke with. Step 3. Partner with your doctor to get that all-important letter of medical necessity. And make sure they directly link it to Medicare's specific coverage guidelines. Step 4. Do not miss your deadline. File your Level 1 redetermination within 120 days. And Step 5. If you feel lost at any point, call your local SHIP office for free backup. See? You absolutely have the tools to take immediate control of this whole process.
Now, just a quick note before we wrap things up. The strategies, timelines, and structures we discussed today are based on current evergreen Medicare protocols, and that includes those $2026 thresholds we mentioned. However, this explainer is strictly for informational purposes only. Bureaucracy is notoriously complex, and individual cases can be really tricky. So please make sure you consult with a qualified professional like a SHIP counselor or a specialized attorney to get personalized legal or medical advice regarding your specific claim.
So, here we are at the end of our roadmap. You understand those confusing denial codes, you know the 5 appeal levels, and you have the exact script to demand answers. Remember, the bureaucracy only wins if you give up. So my question to you is, which step will you take today to reclaim the coverage you deserve? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and best of luck on your appeal.